live. This is the Limitless Channel here, Ronnie Harris, joined by my co-host with the absolute most, Jason Laufenberg, aka Awake Souls. How's it going, brother?
I'm doing well. How you doing, brother?
I'm fighting off a little bit of a Canadian flu, but stronger than ever, happier to be here than ever, and really looking forward to tonight. We've got a great night planned. We're going to do some amazing things. We're going to show you some truth, and we're going to expose a lot of lies at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a weird mix, right? Because I'm coming out with I'm going to premiere like we've done before. We're live on Ronnie's channel right now, but I'm going to be premiering a video that I just finished this afternoon on Awake Souls. So I'm going to invite people to come over and participate in the chat over there while it's premiering. And then Ronnie and I will talk about it afterwards. And then we also want to read the Infancy Gospel of Yahawashi from the lost books of the Bible. And this is one that gives some incredible detail in Yahawashi's youth. And I think everybody would enjoy getting that extra context, because the 66 canon doesn't give us a ton of information about him as a youth. So, do you want to get right into premiering it?
Well, if you want to do that quick, we could have waited a bit just to get everybody involved.
We could, yeah.
Super shout out to Ruth Ann. She's been a comment warrior and spiritual battler, and we're really thankful to have her on Team Yahawashi. Interesting day. I guess I could do a quick screen share before you take it over. And she's testifying that we are the two witnesses, and that is super special, and we'd like to speak to you on Zoom or something, right?
Yeah, I've been able to talk with Ruth over Facebook now that I'm on Facebook, and had some awesome conversation. But still, we would like to have a voice call and really get to know each other, because chances are we're gonna be close friends for eternity. So this is like, have you ever gone to a mixer or something when you didn't know a bunch of people, but you're in the room and you find out, hey, you're going to be working with these people or something like that, and you want to start mingling and getting to know everybody, because we're going to be family. We are going to be family for eternity. The ones that Yahawashi saves from this world, they live for eternity. So it means we're going to get to know each other really well. But we're in this special time period. We're in the transition from this old world to the new world. And for those of us that go through that time period together, I have a feeling we're going to have a super special bond.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, well said. And anybody who didn't think that Owen Benjamin wasn't a shill, he's come out with a red shield. I mean, a red shield with, you got your Masonic crosses at the top with a bear, and it's blue and red striped clothing like the Masons. This is just too much, man. Look at this. He read this comment out too and was like, cool, thanks a lot. Look at the logo on this guy's channel.
Yeah, I wouldn't read anything from somebody that's using the satanic symbols.
A pentagram, upside down star, right?
Yeah.
But this is just absolutely, if someone out there is exposing them right now, unbelievable that you don't call this out. This is just pure shillery. And it's just a weird symbol, the cross with the top line across here, right? It's just really weird to me. Oh yeah, and one other thing that I wanted to share everybody was I've been blocked. I don't know how long I've been blocked, but I found out today that I've been blocked by Subtle Infinity. And I called him out, and I want to read the comment. It was today. I was pretty surprised that the way that he carried on, because he made this hit piece against the Glowbusters, And then they had him on live, and he basically, why don't you give a cap? You heard it, right?
Well, one of the things I found interesting, I got a chance to listen to a little bit of the thing that Subtle Infinity did today. And I did get to the point where he referenced the two guys that showed up on Bob in the hangout, right? So he was referencing you and I showing up. And he made some sort of acknowledgement that we've been out there battling these guys all the time, but then all of a sudden he didn't know who we were, and like has never heard of us and doesn't know anything about us. And that was as big of a nod as we were given. That was it.
Yeah, well, I called him out. I deleted my comment, my earlier one, because I have some issues to discuss with you, and it seems like you only deal with black people. You're being called out by me for pushing racism. Bro, being white has nothing to do with the Colombian totalitarianism. It was about a class of elite controlling the world, not slaving over just blacks. Whites were slaves as well. You must not be that stupid. Will you join us and answer our questions or not? And then I put a timestamp because I said, you flashed the meme. The best way to fight an alien oppression is to embrace your own. How is that not a CIA mind control? So, I could say the same thing, but then you call me a racist. Right? The best way to fight oppression is to expose their lies. It's not to become a cultural racist. Right? And that's all I ever see from this guy. It's always about the blacks and about because I live in Toronto, right? It's been totally flooded from all the culture. I don't think white is it's a minority now. Right? You don't hear me complaining about it. We all get along. There's no like super wars going on. People aren't murdering each other that much, right? Really low.
The one nod that I would give the black community is that the people that are like worst, the top leaders of this world, which are the Jews that say that they're Jews that aren't really Jews, they're Caucasian, right? So the top enslavement, it just so happens that those people, they're not dark skinned, or not like the African American. So we do know from the Bible that Ham got cursed, and we've seen how that oppression has come through to today. It's true. It's absolutely true. And the only way it's ever going to be changed is by making the transition to the new world. This old world's going to have to be scrapped. It's unsavable.
Yeah, but not through black power. It's through the creator of the Bible, the holy word, not the churches. And so these guys are constantly saying that the scriptures are all about mind control, and really it just shows me their lack of intelligence or willing to actually be honest in their approach, because the scriptures actually call out, prophesy, and defeated already all of what's going on now, all the wickedness in the earth. And it's non-racist. Anybody can become a children of the spirit. It's not about your flesh. It's never making it about the skin color is like almost as fleshly as you literally can make the word fleshly become. It is anti the creator. And, I do think Subtle Infinity is a smart guy. And I wish that he wasn't caught up in that whole racist movement, because it really hurts his spiritual approach to the truth and the way that he shares the truth. And, I'm praying for him to find the truth.
Well, and there was some stuff that Subtle Infinity was he was making visible, and he was talking about how Bob and a whole group of these controllers of the popular flat earth, different tactics that they have, and he can see it now. He can see the way Bob is, deflecting, and he describes it very well. You can tell that he's been deeply entrenched in that battle, and he's sensitive and can feel every single movement of a guy like Bob wiggling around. And The only thing he doesn't do is just call Bob a flat out liar, like I do, and I'm going to in this premiere here. You know, it's time to stop all the tap dancing. I'm so sick of all the political correctness, all that kind of stuff. It's time to get real with our words, say what's on our mind, you know, stop hiding behind some sort of pretense. And guys like Subtle Infinity, we've had conversations before, I believe, and I respect the guy, but from an outsider's perspective, it does look like he's huddled up in a group of black guys that are just black strong, and they're going to make this wall between the blacks and the whites where there doesn't need be one if we're just truth seekers looking for a better world.
Yeah, it's defeating the point. It's like giving them the victory. You know, don't do that, man. Take the victory to yourself, right? For your friends.
Absolutely. Well, maybe we can premiere that video now, and then we'll talk about it. So if anybody wants to join over at the Awake Souls channel and leave some comments there, I'd appreciate it. But let's see here.
Be a little bit of time in between once you do it.
There will be. Maybe everybody can share it on their Facebook or Twitter or whatever a person has. So I think it's all set. We'll hit premiere now. All right, so I'm just going to mute, and I'm going to do some sharing. So here is a little bit of research done by Globe Earth shill troll Schmick, who had been a longtime troll of mine and makes the occasional hit piece against me. He apparently paid to have access to FE Core to see if there were any test results published for the experiment that Bob Knodel of Globebusters says proved that they were measuring 15 degrees of rotation per hour, of which that statement made it into the mockumentary Behind the Curve. Let's check it out.
A $12,000 gyroscope, and Rick bought this gyroscope with his own money, okay? And it was Rick that did these tests, and Rick is a member of FE Core, okay? So all of these tests were public in our, not public, but they were in our FE Core Skype group, okay? And, we discussed it for, quite some time. So when I told Daniel about it, when he was here interviewing me for the movie, I said, he was very interested in the experiment. And I said, well, okay. So I told him about it. I said, and if you listen to this in the movie, guys, you will hear me say that another person did these tests, not me. That is the most unbelievable thing. I can't even believe that Vegan Warrior went off on that, because it's complete.
Let's see if we can find these fiber optic gyroscope tests on the FE Core website. Test results. Laser, force level, microwave, mechanical gyro, which is pending, which is not the fiber optic. Aries, not there. Mechanical gyro, force level, long distance, transmission, laser. There is failure. There's a fiber optic gyro test. They're going to do a mechanical gyroscope. Why wouldn't they use a more advanced, more precise method of the fiber optic gyroscope? Desire for truth is a powerful motivator. Failure. Multi-stage balloon, force level, mechanical gyroscope, status update, 501c3. 150 a year, 50 a year, 25. Fucking scam. No fiber optic gyro.
Now, any true Christian knows that all a person has to do to be a Satanist is to be a liar and a deceiver. Bob Knodel is a liar. He is lying about measuring 15 degrees of rotation. He lied about being a commercial pilot. In fact, just about everything that comes out of Bob's mouth is a lie. Bob has a problem with me calling him a Satanist, but I am a Christian that believes in the Bible being the truth given to us by the Creator of this world. John 8:44 says,
Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar, and the father of it.
The Bible could not be more clear that the father of any liar or deceiver is the devil. You are a Satanist if you are a liar or deceiver. But Bob goes way beyond just being a liar or deceiver. Check out this hangout that the Limitless Channel and myself did right after Bob said this on Globebusters.
I'm happy to say that mainstream science is very, very much, going along with that type of idea, which of course gives you some really fascinating prospects.
Let me ask you one thing, Bob. When you say something like that, do you think that there's a potential for a pedophile to take what you're saying and better explain to themselves why it's okay what they're doing? That's the problem I have with what was just said. That I think that if the world took over that viewpoint, then you can kiss off anybody stopping doing what they want to do. I mean, these pedophiles obviously want to subject children to extreme pain, anguish. In their mind, it might be pleasure, whatever, I don't know. But I'm talking about in the rapist's mind. So when we say like the world is an illusion and it's just a ride and you're just along for the fun and you just get to see colors, don't you think that that kind of thinking would lead the world into a dark place?
I see your point. And first of all, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. But what I also want to say that is, if it is true that before we incarnate into this world, that we are choosing specific experiences that we want to have, then that kind of shines a different light on it. And I am in no way advocating pedophilia. But let's say hypothetically that soul has gone through all the incarnations, living a utopian lifestyle. Everything is great. Everything is full of love. And supposing this soul wants to experience what it would be like to be, stabbed in an alley, or to experience extreme fear, or even being molested as a child. I mean, that is something that I think that is likely determined, before incarnation. Now, a lot of people will say,
what on earth happened?
So what Bob was alluding to was that someone who's taken the ayahuasca or smoked, maybe a children's DMT pineal gland secretion, and they've been shown that predestination of someone's soul has chosen to become a pedophilia victim.
Yeah, and so they've chosen that, so it's okay for you to do that, because this everybody wanted to experience what they're going to experience, and it's okay.
Well, maybe in the last life that rapist victim was wealthy.
Yeah. Karma, we definitely some sort of karma thing going on. Everybody's going to get what they deserve, right?
Well, for me, one of the other things that really touches home is the fact that Sherry and Chris Gio over at Truth Frequency Radio are also promoting the simulation theory, and Bob as well, calling it the source. I guess I'll let you comment, and then I'll play another clip.
Yeah, well, he's sort of co-opting the source. They're going to try to demonize all these words that we want to use. They asked me to come on Globebusters is because I've been saying this is a simulation, and I've been saying it for a while. And Bob wanted to do a show about simulation theory, and so I go on there, and he knew very well that I was an anti-AE flat earther, and I knew the flaws in it, and I wanted to share it, and I got my opportunity to show it a little bit. But supposedly he believes that this is a simulation, and I wanted to talk about that, and then I ended up being kicked out of the hangout, and they called it some sort of sniping. That whole sniping thing where I was sniped by Tim Osmond, they bring up this character all the time who's obviously part of their team, works with them. They reference him so much. So so the whole sniping thing. So the episode on Globebusters was supposed to be about simulation. That's what I wanted to talk about. I've been having to battle against these guys, and now all of a sudden it's a simulation, and because it's a simulation, we've got children that have most likely wanted to experience pedophilia, and so it's just part of the game, right?
And there's basically do what thou wilt. The simulation runs on your own intuition. I guess I'm going to go back into a clip here, because your comment right there was just beautiful. So I'm gonna play another clip. And again, anyone who is educating or using their own opinion is falling under the guidelines of fair use. So I'm gonna hit play again, Jay. I want to keep. Yeah,
I'm gonna hit mute.
It means a lot to me.
Say, oh, that's just ridiculous because children don't have that choice. And I'm saying that if they did have that choice, it was made before incarnation, and it was also made, there could be something in that experience that allows them to grow in certain ways. And please, people, do not think that I am advocating this at all. I am simply saying that not every soul is going to incarnate with the intention of having a strictly blissful experience. Okay, that would be my answer.
I want to.
These are more. Let me chime in real quick. These are more esoteric gnosis topics and philosophies that is very hard for people to digest. But I agree with what Bob said. I've seen this kind of stuff. I've asked why there is this darkness in the construct we live in, and they said, look, this is the way that karma is situated. This is what these souls came back to experience. I've seen it. I don't talk about it because a lot of, as Bob said, a lot of people will take it the wrong way, but I'm just making an observation on the construct when I say it.
Truth Frequency Radio is run by Chris and Sherry Geo. Chris is a spin-off of The Alex Jones Show and is a super Satanist. Look at the content promoted by TFR. Does anyone see the problem with Mark Sargent, Jeranism, Rob Skiba, and Zen Garcia all having shows on this network? Bob, you are a liar and a Satanist. And I'm not going to let you get away with saying that 15 degrees of rotation per hour were measured in a hit piece against Flat Earth and continue to act as a spokesperson for Flat Earth. I am going to lead a revolution against your presence in Flat Earth, and I'm going to get you thrown out.
If the Earth is spinning at one rotation every 24 hours, that means that every hour it has to turn 15 degrees. In today's 21st century navigation systems, they're using what's called a ring laser gyroscope. It is extremely precise. One of the people in the community actually purchased one for $20,000. But what we found is when we turned on that gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift, a 15 degree per hour drift.
You are listening to Beyond Flat Earth, your best community for top news and information regarding Christianity, simulation reality, and Flat Earth proofs.
Wow, that was great, man.
Thank you.
I think it could have kept going though. I was just getting into it. What do you mean? Great job though. Got up to 35 viewers too. So
nice.
I was seeing some stuff restored. Some analytics things and some stats were put back on my channel. I don't know. It's like as soon as we started talking about behind the curve or whatever, they unhit us or something. Like we said the magic word. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, like I said in the video, and whenever people should be getting the sense that when I say something like that, I plan on following through on it. I like to be a man of my word. So I'm strategizing, formulating, coming up with a plan to oust all the shills from the truth movement and weed them out.
That's great. Yeah.
Lead a charge.
So yeah,
brother.
I'm not. So yeah, it's crazy. Bob admitting that that children that get raped in this reality chose that in a predestiny. There's more too. Like if we wanted to, we could have played the video that where we were on live with Bob on Friday. Was it Friday or was yesterday?
Yeah, well,
we could have played them both, but
yeah,
everybody's seen that, I guess.
Everybody's seen it.
Yeah.
So Bob's a liar. Liars are Satanists. He gets all like in an uproar about us calling him a Satanist, but liars and deceivers, their father is the devil. They are of that. So he's just like obsessive liar. everything's a lie. He can't say something true. It's so far and rare. It's ridiculous. And he works in cahoots with Jaren. Jaren's the same way. Jaren set up to Bob. If you pay attention to it, he's asking the question, but it's a leading question to Bob, because Bob takes it, says, I'm not for pedophile, but then just like totally expounds on the possibility that is what is
such a bad backhand pass, where I try to give you good passes and you got there doing satanic ones. And when we were on that call with him, it was amazing how obvious of a shill he was. The fact that he ran away and and then he just came back and did nothing but yell at us. Like you could tell he was a demon possessed. Now, what I want to comment on, which I'm going to say 27,000 more times, is how in the heck can people in the supposed flat earth truth movement watch this documentary on Netflix, watch Jaren and Bob both attempt to prove. So Bob was attempting to prove that the earth was spinning at 15 degrees. And Jaren was attempting to prove that there was curvature because of the way he was holding his flashlight through a hole that he drilled in a piece of cardboard. The guy Jaren tells him to show his light. You could see he puts the light up. The light was never pointed at the hole. They're sitting there. We don't see nothing. The fact that the truthers in the flat earth movement can't see that Bob and Jaren are trying. How could you miss that? Like the very first thing that we got back was somebody filmed the Toronto Film Festival, was an audience member after the movie went after Pat and Mark and said, how dare you put your name on this? This is an absolute disrespectful, wrong piece of information. He said, if I wasn't a researcher already, I would walk away thinking for sure we live on a globe. Bob proved it with the 15 degrees of the spin. So this is in a documentary on Netflix. Okay. The two supposed globebusters and Jaren making a curvature video and a spinning ball earth video, which, the motion of the earth has never been detected. That would be the first of its kind. Nobel Peace Prize for Bob.
Bob didn't do it. And he's got he's got no proof. He's got no evidence. Jaren, his whole curve thing, he says, I don't have any of the footage. The documentary people, they have it.
He didn't film it. He said the documentary people filmed it. That was the deal. And so none of them got paid. And if people don't see how ridiculously obvious this is. So when Bob was grilled on it, I said, hey, Bob, all the people in the debate are saying that you prove the earth is spinning. What is Bob's? I didn't do the test. Okay, can I see the evidence, Bob? I don't. The evidence isn't posted online. But he's calling himself a flat earth truth movement leader. And when I asked him where he was going with his channel, he told me he was going to continue to do the exact same thing that he's done every day, is call out NASA. When NASA has been completely exposed, everybody knows on the plane that NASA has been exposed. So you could tell it's what's called a limited time hangout where they promote propaganda, they promote lies, they promote disinformation, and they lead the truth movement astray. Heck yeah, I'm with you, Jason. How can anybody tune in and think that Jaren and Bob are anywhat of a truth seeker after that documentary? I am absolutely just, it's painful. It's, you'd have to be literally on IQ of under 80 to think that Bob and Jaren are actually for the flat earth when they're in a documentary on Netflix trying to prove the curve and the spin. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless here.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. It's sick. It's twisted, but we're starting to get a sense of how deeply satanic these individuals are. And they put on an outward appearance. They're wolves in sheep clothing. And then they have the support of networks. They have the Freemasons, Jesuits, Rosicrucians, Knights Templars, and a whole host of other secret societies that they get support from all those people. Like, those are the people in the chats. Look at their avatars. Look at the avatars of these people that support these people. You're going to see the one eye symbolism. You're going to see all the satanic imagery because they're a whole bunch of Satanists. Yes. And they're all They're all anti-Bible. They're all anti. They're Satanists. And the thing is Bob says, well, you call so many people Satanists. Well, that's because out in the truth community, we're the other people that are trying to clean house of all these people that are going around promoting lies and deception.
Yeah, we were the ones that brought the whole term Satanist back. We were the ones who stood up and called these people out for what they were. And in the beginning, it was an absolute shock. Ladies and gentlemen, on the other side of the screen, we went into uncharted territory with the truth. We went full truth. And what did we get for it? We got mocked, we got ridiculed, we got put down, we got made fun of, we got absolutely ignored. There was a silent this is another thing. The most sneakiest people in the world are the Ashkenazis. Okay. And we can know them by the fact that they do things like code of silence. And all of the people that are Ashkenazi are quiet. Okay. This is something that Satan's children do. And now we've got Bob and Jaron who've actively been silent on the Limitless Channel and Awake Souls. It wasn't until yesterday that he actually said more than just Jason and Ronnie. But not only that, but you go to the Globebusters today and you'd think that the Globebusters movement being on Netflix would be the most important thing. What could there be more important than Globebusters being on a Netflix documentary than any? What is more important, Jason? Please tell me what is more important than that.
That's the most important thing. Anybody that you can take any one of your friends and say, hey, you got Netflix? We can watch a flat earth documentary. Let's go watch it together.
It's incredible. It's mind-blowing that Mark and Patricia came in. They had the setup. They did it exactly the way that they wanted to. Everything went perfectly to plan, except for me and you. Me and you were the only ones that we instantly called it out. We did our research. You did the guerrilla interview. You went and took the time out to check your resources and your stories. And like I said before, man, I don't need to see. I really, the last thing I want to see is hundreds of people following us, because this group needs to be small and set apart, because that is the truth of what we're going to find in this reality. Is there's only a very, very, very few people. If you're following our channels and you're supporting the spiritual warfare, I want to tell you guys that you're like on the 0.00000000001% of the people on this reality that actually serve Yahawashi in the truth. And my heart goes out to everybody that follows. And I don't need validation. I don't need the social media with the thumbs up to prove to me that I am serving the truth. I just need to be around people like you, Jason, and the people in the chat, like Yahawah's daughter and Ruth Ann, and I believe Yahawah's daughter needs some prayer. She had something wrong with a root canal, so we're praying for her. She won't be in the chat tonight, but this is what the truth is. And Jason, that was a great video that you threw together today. Touching on some really serious topics that when we heard, we were like, because we were going back and forth about a map, right? And then all of a sudden, Globebusters has Chris Geo on. And they start talking about ayahuasca trips where they're watching children in the basement of Pizzagate, right? They're watching children being raped and killed, and then the pineal glands being excreted and the adrenochrome or whatever being smoked. We watched them talk about that. And then Bob, it was like they were trying to up each other. Who could be more satanic? And, Chris kept saying it's the way that the evil works is that they put it right in your face. And if you don't get it, you're too stupid, right? You didn't deserve to know the truth. They literally tell you they're doing it. And if you don't get it, it's your fault, right?
Well, Satanists believe that you are morally obligated if you've been told the truth, right? And you don't get it, you're morally obligated, right? It's off their hands. They've washed their hands of your blood if they've told you the truth, but you were too stupid to recognize it. That's how they do it.
They constantly were promoting this on that live stream. And then Bob took it right up into reincarnation and how some people that are rape victims chose to come into this reality because they wanted to experience what it felt like to be raped. That is, I don't think you could find, and Jaron says it right out, Bob, I have to say that what you're saying right now is promoting this type of action, and I can't condone it, but continue. You know, it was unbelievable what we watched and witnessed, and you know, we called it out. Glowbusters promotes 5 things for Satan, and we pointed things out left, right, and center. So after that, you know, we knew it was on, and then now all they've continued to do is promote lies and deception. They cover NASA. Always the same stories with NASA's. It's like JFK. You know how many books are written about the JFK conspiracy? Right? Bob and Jaron are like the JFK conspiracy guys tell the death. Okay. So the next thing that you're going to see, Bob and Jaron, is now all they're doing is they're working. Now they're literally showing people. Actually, I should pull it up. So they're promoting, which we've said right from the get-go, that they're going to end up going concave. We've got it all documented on our channels. So now what you've got, that's been Doctor. Great thumbnail, by the way. And I love the way that the DJ was spinning it up with Bob there. That was really well done, man. You cut out. That was really well done, man.
Thanks.
I liked your artistic expression, but where's the Glowbusters video here? Maybe it should show up in my recent. It wasn't that long ago I watched it. But yeah, here it is. So what they've got on the screen is they're talking about McWest. Well, they're flashing this crap, but not really talking about it. And they got Anthony Riley on there, who, you know, has said some of the most retarded stuff in the world. But they're constantly promoting this upwards refraction. So, you know, they're totally there. See that they were going on and on and on and on and on and on about this. And, you know, I can see it as clear as day. These are not flat earthers, because the globe had to have what's called ad hoc theories added to it. That's why it's moving 660,000 miles around the galactic center, because every theory had to have another theory to back it up. Now, what Bob is doing is just ad hoc. The A map doesn't work. Okay, now everything that you see looks like you're looking through a sugar-filled water tank. Right? That's where they go. And it's plain as day. It's obvious that all this is just ad hoc nonsense, that they're never going to come to any realistic measurements, because this is what we observe. We don't observe. And they've shown, I don't know if I can find it, but they show a bunch of lasers across water, and it's all fake. It's all manipulated like this. See how they've got this zooming up like this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I work with lasers. Okay. Lasers do not bend.
Yeah.
They don't.
It's been altered.
Yeah, and they continue to go on and on and on and on and on, and promote shills and promote disinformation, and we're going to be ahead of you every step of the way. I was the one that really brought this video out, because I thought maybe it would explain looming, right? Why sometimes objects, and it kind of does, but I don't really find any of this to be real. Now they've got the tank upside down. It's just absolute nonsense what these guys push. They're supporting Owen Benjamin. You know, he just happened to go live at the same time they were live. And you got Dearth and Owen Benjamin's chat begging to be recognized, begging to be verified. Owen Benjamin ignores everything from him. What does that tell you? Hopefully Owen Benjamin realizes that they're a bunch of they show this, Jason. Look at this. So this is apparently real, right? The sun sets and then the mountains drop 30 feet. Have you ever seen this?
No, I haven't seen it.
Of course, they didn't make the video. Look at this picture.
Whoa, come on now.
It's hitting the water. They say if it was hitting the water, there'd be a big bright spot there.
They just throw out garbage evidence. This isn't evidence. No controls. It's so easily manufactured.
They don't have any evidence. They don't share any of their evidence. They hide everything. Bob admitted it himself. He didn't even put up any evidence for the experiment that made it in the documentary. And then he acts like he was just passing words when he was talking about the experiment, but yet they then have him mic'd up, and he's telling someone else about it, saying that it's super confidential, but he's mic'd up for a documentary telling someone that it's super confidential. Like,
that's
hello?
That's the dumbest thing. The hot mic thing is just beyond stupid. Like, I don't know how he thought he could get away with that.
Ashkenazi didn't write that. Bob wrote that clip. That was Bob's, not an unless Bob's an Ashkenazi for all I know. But come on, he had a hot mic and he was talking about something that was confidential, and then he says, "Oh, we fully discussed it on Globebusters." Okay, you know, I guarantee anybody out there, show me the clip. I could be wrong, but I followed Globebusters back then. We were watching everything because we were calling out their lies and deceptions. Bob said that he couldn't discuss the experiment. He hinted at some things and then said it was classified until Denver. He was going to have a big premiere at Denver. He said that the documentary would be aired there and maybe you'd have to pay extra on the live stream to watch it. But the people there were going to see it. And then he was going to then go over the experiment that he did. Remember? And Jaron's experiment was going to be featured. This is what they were saying. And everyone was asking, Jaron, where's the footage for you? Because Jaron did a donation run for his experiment, right? That he never live streamed, never aired. Nobody heard anything about it until the documentary started coming around. And then here comes Jaron playing the victim, Bob playing we were set up in the documentary. And I keep saying it. How can you be set up when you literally choose the words that are coming out of your mouth? When you're hot mic'd, how can you be set up? What did he talk about the Colorado Avalanche the rest of the time that Daniel was there? And then just that one time he talked about, like, he made it so, it's unbelievable that there's a group of people that call themselves truth seekers that follow this crap. It's beyond me. I am so sickened and saddened in my soul for these people.
I'm going to lead a charge. I am absolutely going to lead a charge. I'm going to, now that I'm on Facebook, I'm going to try to round up as many people that have enough common sense to see that Bob shilled out the flat earth, right? Jaron shilled out the flat earth. And there should be some people that are pissed off that have put a lot of effort into flat earth, that they've been working with their friends and family, trying to let them know about this truth. And then all of a sudden, this documentary comes along, everybody can watch it on Netflix. And I guarantee you, once your family members watch the documentary, that's their cognitive dissonance. The only thing that they're going to remember is that the two top flat earthers in Globebusters both provided evidence that we're on the globe.
Tried to. There was no evidence really provided. It was a bunch of scandalous footage clips.
Yeah, well, Bob can't provide the evidence that 15 degrees of rotation was measured.
Yeah, they used a cartoon animation.
Yeah.
Oh, and not only that, but the person behind the documentary, this is the best one. She has already been in a hit piece documentary against Sandy Hookers. You guys all know what I mean. So wake up, people. This isn't the first documentary that they've been involved in. How would Mark and Patricia let someone like that into the community and pretend to be representing the community? Like, it's beyond stupid.
It is beyond stupid.
But yeah, Ruth asks what the next step is. The next step is to continue to call them out. Jason wants to step up and lead a charge to make sure that that finally we might get the last of the people following them to realize that they're a bunch of liars and deceivers. They admittedly Satanists, pretty much.
Well, if there are some genuine flat earthers out there that can see through this lie, what I'd like to do is organize a charge where we collectively train with the comments that we would like to share and have our accounts ready and begin chat rating some of these channels and come in with massive amounts of accounts where we shut down the channel. They're going to realize that with all their mods and they're just sitting there block as fast as they can, and they can't even keep up. At that point, they will realize that they have been kicked from the community. They're no longer wanted. So,
well, they already have the dislikes and likes hidden right on the Globebusters. Jaron pays for his likes and views, right? So Globebusters pays for them too.
I'd like to organize some serious chat raids and really come with a spiritual warfare assault. come in with evidence that you guys are liars, you guys are frauds, you guys are Satanists, and just pound on them. Bam, 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 bam. They're a bunch of cowards, really. They're like cockroaches, and they'll scurry off. And the scriptures say that they're going to want to bury themselves under mountains, because all of a sudden people are going to see them for the types of Satanists that they are. That when they're talking publicly, if you're a flat Earth channel and you're sitting there talking about predestined children choosing to be molested, right? There's really that's the topic of conversation. So I think some people are smart enough to start putting two and two together to see that this top brass, these fake leaders of flat Earth, are a satanic cult that is trying to lead people off to hell. And so Christians, stand up, fight for the truth, stand with the word of truth, and you can't lose. Can't lose that way. So we got to
called him out too. Bob said he literally believed in God, or the creator, and you said the creator of the Holy Scriptures, the Bible. What did he say?
I'm sorry, I looked at the chat.
He freaked out. He didn't say yes. He said he's not going to debate us because this is the kind of crap. Who is the creator of not the Scriptures? It's Satan. It's the devil, the adversary. That's what you got. He fully admits that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is the fact that they're on mainstream media. Okay, he's been many times. He's been on the news.
CBS has been behind this whole thing.
He was on the Discovery Channel. He was on the Guardian. He's been all over articles, literally by the Ashkenazis, putting them up everywhere. Literally in the documentary, he says that he detected 15 degrees of movement per hour on the ground. He wasn't up in the sky. He wasn't pointing at any stars. This is what gets me. No evidence was provided. It was a cartoon that they showed, the same thing that NASA does, and people just sit there. But anyways, we got to move on because it gets me too fired up.
See, I'm going into strategy mode because I've called attack, right? So I've been winding up strategies in my head, and one of these, so I'm on Facebook now, and I created a group, but I've realized in my head that that's going to be a super, super private group. That's going to be only for people that identify as Team Yahawashi. If you identify with Team Yahawashi, you'd probably want to be in the group just to be able to keep up with things. But I'm going to make another group. Just a second here. I'm sorry, my allergies are terrible. But I'm going to make another group that's going to be a Flat Earth Shills Exposed group. And this is going to be a real free-for-all where the rules are simply going to be no ad hominems, no cursing. And after that, it's just going to be a free-for-all. And I'll be looking for moderators. And what I'm going to need for moderators are people that have a good sense of who the shills are already in the flat Earth. So what we're going to do is compile all the shill evidence into a storehouse. It's going to be a repository of all the shilling exposed. And once we've finished with flat Earth, and we can go through the whole truth community. And what I see is, the movie, I never watched it, but The Purge, I guess there's, the idea that at a certain point there's a purge or whatever. What I see is from the scriptures, we see that there's a time period where the Christians are going to become super empowered, become organized, and Babylon the Great falls, right? So Babylon the Great doesn't fall over by itself without anything happening. That actually takes the organized true Christians turning and saying, no more, not taking it. So this is an active spiritual warfare. We're gonna put the truth out there. It's gonna be documented, and it's gonna be accurate. Everything's gonna be cited. It's gonna be double checked, reviewed, and we're gonna clean house. Absolutely clean house.
Yep, it's coming. So should we get into the scriptures? And I'm not a uni rock fan. I think I went there a couple times. He ignored me or whatever. I had to super chat or whatever to talk. I don't deal with people that you have to super chat, you know. But yeah, Globebusters is done. If anybody still watches them and thinks they're watching flat earth content, you're out of your mind. You're being duped.
Well, some people are gonna know that I've started calling out my family, and I got through my parents, and now this whole behind the curve, Bob Knodel, this thing has become my focus of attention, and I'm just forgetting about the family for now. Maybe I'll have time to come back to it later, but I really want to go on the offensive against Bob. So all the the things that I was saying I was going to do to my family, I'm going to focus on Bob, and I'm going to meme him and SEO him and lead a charge against him, and until he is gone. That's when I'll stop, is when he's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jaron too, all of them, all the fake people, Mark, Patricia, Jaron, you know, they can stay putting their videos up, but until the people are completely gone watching you because they realize what you are, they put on the, you know, the glasses of truth. That's what we're here to do, is, you know, and it takes a fight, you know, just like in the movie with Roddy Piper or whatever, that it took a fight for the guy to put the glasses on. And then, you know, finally he did, and he saw everybody for the truth. And you can too, right? It's really easy. You just have to listen and watch what people's character and the fruits that they produce by the things that they say. And I'm still going to say again, anybody that's in a documentary literally said and did those things. You can't make a hit piece from Jason and I because we don't lie. We don't say things that we don't mean. That's what I don't understand, how someone, well, they cut up my word. They didn't cut up anybody's words. Everything in the documentary was specifically planned the way that it went. They had cartoons and animations made. This was a majorly planned out thing. And Jason and I are thankful that we pulled ourselves away from the flat earth community because we saw its demise. We saw the destruction of it as soon as these people started doing what they do. You know, just in their simple rejection of the truth was all we needed. And then we just honed in, and we're going to continue to do it till the very end. If you want to start reading, we can start the music and you can start it off.
Can you start? I want to take a break quick.
Okay. When are you going to start the music?
About 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So now we're going to switch up and get into some scriptures. That's what we like to do. The other stuff is just, we have to...
Yeah, well, wind down and get into the piece.
Yeah. So this is the first gospel of the infancy of Yahawashi. And just make sure the music might be a little loud. So it was first translated and published in 1697. This is a pretty interesting book. Yahawashi, when he was in his cradle, informed his mother that he was the son of Yahawah. So yeah, let's get into this. The following accounts were found in the book of Joseph, the high priest, called by some Caiaphas. He relates, then Yahawashi spake even when he was in the cradle and said to his mother, Mary, I am Yahawashi, the son of Yahawah. That word which thou didst bring forth according to the declaration of the angel Gabriel to thee, and my Father has sent me for the salvation of the world. In the 309th year of the area of Alexander, Augustus published a decree that all persons should go to be taxed in their own country. Joseph therefore arose, and with Mary his spouse he went to Jerusalem, and then came to Bethlehem, that he and his family might be taxed in the city of his fathers. And when they came by the cave, Mary confessed to Joseph that her time of bringing forth was come. and she could not go on to the city, and said, "Let us go into this cave." And at that time, the sun was very near going down, but Joseph hastened away, that he might fetch a midwife. And when he saw an old Hebrew woman who was of Jerusalem, he said to her, "Pray come hither, good woman, and go into that cave, and you will there see a woman just ready to bring forth." And it was after sunset when the old woman and Joseph with her reached the cave, and they both went into it, and behold, it was filled with lights, greater than the light of lamps and candles, and greater than the light of the sun itself. The infant was then wrapped in swaddling clothes and suckling the breasts of his mother, Saint Mary. When they both saw this light, they were surprised. The old woman asked Mary, "Art thou the mother of this child?" Mary replied, "She was." Of which the old woman said, "Thou art very different from all other women." And Mary answered, "As there is not any child like unto my son, so neither is there any woman like to his mother." The old woman answered and said, "O my lady, I am come hither that I may obtain an everlasting reward." Then Our Lady Mary said to her, "Lay thine hands upon the infant," which when she had done this, she became whole. And as she was going forth, she said, "From henceforth, all the days of my life, I will attend upon and be a servant of this infant." After this, when the shepherds came and had made a fire, and they were exceedingly rejoicing, the heavenly host appeared to them, praising and adoring the supreme Yahawah. And as the shepherds were engaged in the same employment, the cave at that second seemed like a glorious temple, because both of the tongues of the angels and men united to adore and magnify Yahawah on the account of the birth of Yahawashi. So people understand this is Yahawah being born into the creation as the child Yahawashi. This is a big deal. But when the old Hebrew woman saw all these evident miracles, she gave praises to Yahawah and said, "Oh, I thank thee, O Yahawah, thou Yahawah of Israel, for that mine eyes have seen the birth of the Savior of the world." And when that time of his circumcision was come, namely the 8th day, on which the law commanded the child to be circumcised, they circumcised him in the cave. And I also believe it was the cave of treasures, where Adam and Eve were first. And the old Hebrew woman took the foreskin. Others, she took the navel string and preserved it in an alabaster box of oil and spikenard. So that's like a fragranty smelling stuff, which I believe they got back when Yahawashi was before he was crucified, that he was doused in this, his hands and his feet were washed in it to prepare him. And that is something you don't get in the regular 66 books. And she had a son who was a druggist, to whom she said, "Take heed thou sell not this alabaster box of spikenard ointment, although thou shouldest be offered 300 pence for it."
You want me to take over, brother? Or
I'll finish the paragraph, yeah.
Okay.
Now this is that alabaster box. Oh, it's right there. Mary the sinner procured and poured forth the ointment out of it upon the head and the feet of the Lord Yahawashi, and wiped it off with the hairs of her head. Then after 10 days they brought him to Jerusalem, and on the 14th day from his birth they presented him in the temple before Yahawah, making the proper offerings for him according to the requirements of the laws of Moses, namely that every male which opens the womb shall be called holy unto Yahawah. Now this is also where we get the word matrix from. It's literally from this here, that every male which opens the womb shall be called the Holy One unto Yahawah. So that's
that gets translated matrix.
So he opened reality when he was born into reality, because he wasn't born the regular way, right? His mother was still a virgin.
Yep.
And at that time, old Simeon saw him shining as a pillar of light, when Mary, the virgin, his mother, carried him in her arms, and was filled with the greatest pleasure at the sight. And the angels stood around him, adoring him, and as king's guards stood around him. So remember, this is the angel standing around Yahawah on earth as a human. Then Simeon, going near to Mary, forgive me, friends. Lord, thy shall depart in peace according to thy word. For mine eyes have seen thy mercy, which thou hast prepared for the salvation of all nations, a light to all people, and to the glory of thy people Israel. And Hannah, the prophetess, was also present, and drawing near, she gave praises to Yahawah and celebrated the happiness of Mary.
Nice. And it came to pass, when the Lord Yahawashi was born at Bethlehem, a city in Judea, in the time of Herod the king, the wise men came from the east to Jerusalem, according to the prophecy of Zordashak, and brought with them offerings, namely gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and worshipped him, and offered to him their gifts. Then the Lady Mary took one of his swaddling clothes, in which the infant was wrapped, and gave it to them instead of a blessing, which they received from her as a most noble present. And at the same time there appeared to them an angel in the form of that star which had been before their guide in their journey, the light of which they followed till they returned into their own country. On their return, their kings and princes came to them inquiring what they had seen and done, what sort of journey and return they had, and what company they had on the road. But they produced the swaddling cloth which St. Mary had given to them, on account whereof they kept a feast, and having according to the custom of their country made a fire, they worshipped it. Casting the swaddling cloth into it, the fire took it and kept it. And when the fire was put out, they took forth the swaddling cloth unhurt, as much as if the fire had not touched it. Then they began to kiss it, and put it upon their heads and their eyes, saying, "This is certainly an undoubted truth, and it is really surprising that the fire could not burn it and consume it." Then they took it, and with the greatest respect laid it upon their treasures. Chapter 4. Now Herod, perceiving that the wise men did delay and not return to him, called together the priests and wise men, and said, "Tell me in what place the Christ should be born." And when they replied, "In Bethlehem, a city of Judea," he began to contrive in his own mind the death of the Lord Yahawashi. But an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in his sleep and said, "Arise, take the child and his mother, and go into Egypt as soon as the cock crows." So he arose and went. And as he was considering with himself about his journey, the morning came upon him. In the length of the journey, the girths of the saddle broke. And now he drew near to a great city, in which there was an idol, to which the other idols and gods of Egypt brought their offerings and vows. And there was by this idol a priest ministering to it, who, as often as Satan spoke out of that idol, I'm sorry, I'm allergy sick too. Related the things he said to the inhabitants of Egypt and those countries. This priest had a son 3 years old, who was possessed with a great multitude of devils, who uttered many strange things, and when the devil seized him, walked about naked with his clothes torn, throwing stones at those whom he saw. Near to that idol was the inn of the city, in which, when Joseph and St. Mary were come, and had turned into that inn, all the inhabitants of the city were astonished. And all the magistrates and priests of the idols assembled before that idol, and made inquiry there, saying, "What means all this consternation and dread which has fallen upon our country?" And the idol answered them, "The unknown God is come to hither, who is truly Yahawah, nor is there anyone besides him who is worthy of divine worship, for he is truly the Son of God. And at the fame of him, this country trembled, and at his coming it is under the present commotion and consternation, and we ourselves are affrighted by the greatness of his power." And at the same instant this idol fell down, and at his fall all the inhabitants of Egypt, besides others, ran together. But the son of the priest, when his usual disorder came upon him, going into the inn, found there Joseph and St. Mary, whom all the rest had left behind and forsook. And when the Lady St. Mary had washed the swaddling clothes of the Lord Yahawashi, and hanged them out to dry upon a post, The possessed with the devil took down one of them and put it upon his head. And presently the devils began to come out of his mouth and fly away in the shape of crows and serpents. From that time the boy was healed by the powers of Yahawashi, and he began to sing praises and give thanks to the Lord who had healed him. When his father saw him restored to his former state of health, he said, "My son, what has happened to thee? By what means wert thou cured?" The son answered, "When the devil seized me, I went into the inn, and there found a very handsome woman with a boy, whose swaddling clothes she had just washed and hanged out upon a post. One of these I took and put it upon my head, and immediately the devils left me and fled away." In this the father exceedingly rejoiced and said, "My son, perhaps this boy is the son of the living God, who made the heavens and the earth." For as soon as he came amongst us, the idol was broken, and all the gods fell down, and were destroyed by a greater power. Then was fulfilled the prophecy which saith, "Out of Egypt I have called my son."
You want me to go?
Sure.
That was a powerful piece of scripture right there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how anyone could miss that. That's how we verify the scriptures when they line up, right? Because this is prophesied in the 66 books, right? I believe it was Isaiah, maybe it might have even been older. So now it says, "Now Joseph and Mary, when they heard that the idol was fallen down and destroyed, were seized with fear and trembling, and said, When we were in the land of Israel, Herod, intending to kill Yahawashi, slew for the purpose all the infants at Bethlehem and that neighborhood. And there is no doubt, but the Egyptians, if they come to hear that this idol is broken and fallen down, will burn us with fire." They went therefore hence to his secret places of robbers, who robbed travelers as they passed by, of their carriages and their clothes, and carried them away bound. These thieves upon their coming heard a great noise, such as the noise of a king with a great army and many horses, and the trumpet sounding at his overture from his own city, at which they were so affrighted as to leave all their booty behind them, and they fled in haste. Upon this the prisoners arose and loosened each other's bonds, and taking each man by his bags, they went away and saw Joseph and Mary coming towards them, and inquired, "Where is that king, the noise of whose approach the robbers heard, and left us, so that we were now come off safe?" And Joseph answered, "He will come after us." Then they went into another, that was kind of jumbled up, but that was pretty interesting that that noise carried them, right? Then they went into another where there was a woman possessed with a devil, in whom Satan, that cursed rebel, had taken his abode. One night, when she went to fetch water, she could neither endure her clothes on, nor to be in any house. But as often as they tied her with chains or cords, she brake them, and went out into the desert places, and sometimes standing where roads crossed, in the churchyards, would throw stones at men. And when Mary saw this, she pitied her, whereupon Satan possessed her, presently left her, and fled away. Whereas Satan presently left her and fled away in the form of a young man, saying, "Woe to me because of thee, Mary, and thy son." So the woman was delivered from her torment, but considering herself naked, she blushed and avoided seeing any man, and having put on her clothes, went home and gave account of her case to her father and relations, who, as they were the best of the city, and entertained Mary and Joseph with the greatest respect. The next morning, having received a sufficient supply of provisions for the road, they went from them, and about the evening of the day arrived at another town, where a marriage was then about to be solemnized. And the arts of Satan and the practices of some sorcerers, the bride was become so dumb that she could not so much as open her mouth. But when this dumb bride saw the Lady Mary entering into the town and carrying the Lord Yahawashi in her arms, she stretched out her hands to the Lord Yahawashi and took him in her arms, and closely hugging him, very often kissed him, continually moving him and pressing him onto her body. Straightway the string of her tongue was loosed, and her ears were opened, and she began to sing praises unto Yahawah, who had restored her. So there was great joy among the inhabitants of the town that night, who thought that Yahawah and his angels were come down among them. Really, they were. In this place they abode 3 days, meeting with the greatest respect and most splendid entertainment. And being then furnished by all the people with provisions for the road, they departed and went into another city, in which they were inclined to lodge, because it was a famous place. There was in the city a gentlewoman, who, as she went down one day to the river to bathe, behold, cursed Satan leaped upon her in the form of a serpent, and folded himself about her belly, and every night lay upon her. This woman, seeing that Lady Mary and the Lord Yahawashi, the infant in her bosom, asked the Lady Mary that she would give her child to kiss and carry in her arms. And when she had consented, as soon as the woman had moved the child, Satan left her and fled away, nor did the woman ever afterwards see him. Hereupon all the neighbors praised the supreme Yahawah, and the woman rewarded them with ample beneficence. On the morrow, the same woman brought perfumed water to wash the Lord Yahawashi, and when she had washed him, she preserved the water. And there was a girl there whose body was white with leprosy, and being sprinkled with this water and washed, was instantly cleansed from her leprosy. The people therefore said without doubt, Joseph and Mary and that boy are Yahawah's, or I guess you could say Elohim's, for they do not look like mortals. And when they were making ready to go, the girl who had been troubled with the leprosy came and desired they would permit her to go along with them. So they consented, and the girl went with them till they came to a city in which was the palace of a great king, and whose house was not far from the inn. Here they stayed, and when the girl went one day to the prince's wife and found her in a sorrowful and mournful condition, she asked her for the reasons of her tears, and she replied, "Wonder not at my groans, for I am under a great misfortune, of which I dare not tell anyone. But," says the girl, "if you will entrust me with your private grievance, perhaps I may find a remedy for you. Thou therefore," says the prince's wife, "shalt keep this secret and not discover it to anyone alive. I have been married to this prince who rules as king over large dominions, and lived long with him before he had any child by me. At length I conceived by him, but alas, I brought forth a leprous son, which when he saw, he would not own to be his, but said to me, either do thou kill him, or send him to the nurse in such place that he may never be heard of. And now take care of yourself. I will never see you no more. So here I pine, lamenting my wretched and miserable circumstances. Alas, my son, alas, my husband, have I disclosed it to you?" The girl replied, "I have found a remedy for your disease, which I promise you. For I also was leprous, but Yahawah hath cleansed me, even he who called Yahawashi, the son of Lady Mary." The woman inquiring where that Yahawah was, whom she spake of, the girl answered, "He lodges with you in the inn in the same house." "But how can this be?" Says she, "Where is he?" "Behold," replied the girl, "Joseph and Mary and the infant who is with them called Yahawashi, and it is to be who delivered me from my disease and torment." "By what means," says she, were you cleansed from your leprosy? Will you not tell me that?" "Why not?" says the girl. I took the water with which his body had been washed, and poured it upon me, and my leprosy vanished." The prince's wife then arose and entertained them, providing a great feast for Joseph among a large company of men, and the next day took perfumed water to wash the Lord Yahawashi, and afterwards poured the same water upon her son, whom she had brought with her, and her son was instantly cleansed from leprosy. Then she sang songs and praises to Yahawah, and said, "Blessed is the mother that bare thee, O Yahawashi. Doest thou thus cure men of the same nature with thyself, with the water with which thy body is washed? She then offered very large gifts unto the Lady Mary and sent her away with an imaginable respect. You know, that's precursor to the baptism, right? This is why it's repeated over and over again in my mind, is that they're pointing out that this was long before baptism was even, this was the second dispensation coming, right?
Yeah, with the water which the body is washed. So I mean, that's baptism, right?
Yeah, it started right from an infant, right?
Yeah.
Healing people with the same thing that became everyone's baptism when you get baptized in the holy water, right? In the water.
Mm-hmm.
Take it away, brother.
It was chapter 7.
Mm-hmm.
They came afterwards to another city and had a mind to lodge there. Accordingly, they went to a man's house who was newly married, but by the influence of sorcerers could not enjoy his wife. But the lodging at this house that night, the man was freed of his disorder. And when they were preparing early in the morning to go forward on their journey, the new married person hindered them and provided a noble entertainment for them. But going forward on the morrow, they came to another city and saw 3 women going from a certain grave with great weeping. When St. Mary saw them, she spake to the girl who was their companion, saying, Go and inquire of them, what is the matter with them, and what misfortune has befallen them? When the girl asked them, they made her no answer, but asked her again, Who are ye, and where are ye going? For the day is far spent, and the night is at hand. We are travelers, saith the girl, and are seeking for an inn to lodge at. They replied, Go along with us and lodge with us. They then followed them and were introduced into a new house, well furnished with all sorts of furniture. And now winter time, the girl went into the parlor where these women were and found them weeping and lamenting as before. By them stood a mule covered over with silk and a and an ebony collar hanging down from his neck, whom they kissed and were feeding. But when the girl said, How handsome, ladies, that mule is, they replied with tears and said, This mule which you see was our brother, born of this same mother as we. For when our father died and left us a very large estate, and we had only this brother, and were endeavored to procure him a suitable match, and thought he should be married as other men, some giddy and jealous woman bewitched him without our knowledge. And we, one night, a little before day, while the doors of the house were all fast shut, saw this our brother was changed into a mule, such as you now see him be. And we, in the melancholy condition in which you see us, having no father to comfort us, have applied to all the wise men, magicians, and diviners in the world, but they have been of no service to us. As often, therefore, as we find ourselves oppressed with grief, we rise and go with this our mother to our father's tomb, where when we have cried sufficiently, we return home. When the girl had heard this, she said, Take courage and cease your fears, for you have a remedy for your afflictions near at hand, even among you and in the midst of your house. For I was leprous, but when I saw this woman and this little infant with her, whose name is Yahawashi, I sprinkled my body with the water with which his mother had washed him, and I was presently made well. And I am certain that he is also capable of relieving you under your distress.
Yeah, you can take a break, man. Clear yourself.
All right, sorry.
Poor guy. No, yeah, you got tissue paper or whatever works.
Yeah.
And, decongest.
Yeah, that's what I need.
Prayers. Okay, we don't usually take time off anyways from this. This is what we love to do.
I have a feeling that I'm just going to degenerate.
Let me take over.
Yeah, I'm going to sound terrible. It's going to be bad.
Where are you, 21?
I think so.
Is this it? Yeah, I think this is it. And as soon as the woman had heard the girl's discourse, they hastened away to Lady Mary and introduced themselves to her, and sitting down before her, they wept and said, "O Lady Mary, pity your handmaids, for we have no head of our family." Did you read this part? No. "And no one older than us, no father or brother to go in and out before us. But this mule which you see was our brother, which some woman by witchcraft have brought into this condition which you see. We therefore entreat you to be compassionate to us." Hereupon Saint Mary was grieved at their case, and taking the Lord Yahawashi, put him on the back of the mule, and said to her son, "Restore according to thy extraordinary power this mule, and grant him to have again the shape of a man and the rational creature as he had formerly." This was scarce said by the Lady Mary, but the mule immediately passed into a human form and became a young man without a deformity. Then he said to his mother, and the sisters worshipped the Saint Mary, and lifting the child upon their heads, they kissed him and blessed him. "Blessed is the mother, O Yahawashi, Savior of the world. Blessed are the eyes which are so happy as to see thee." Then both the sisters told their mother, saying, "Of a truth, our brother is restored to his former shape by the help of the Lord Yahawashi, and the kindness of that girl who told us of Mary and her son. And inasmuch as our brother is unmarried, it is fit that we marry him to this girl, their servant." When they had consulted Mary in this matter, and she had given her consent, they made a splendid wedding for this girl. And so their sorrow being turned into gladness, and their mourning into mirth, they began to rejoice and to make merry and sing, being dressed in the richest attire with bracelets. Afterwards, they glorified and praised Yahawah, singing, "O Yahawashi, son of David, who changest sorrow into gladness and mourning into mirth." After this, Joseph and Mary tarried there 10 days, then went away, having received great respect from those people, who, when they took their leave of them and returned home, cried, because especially that girl.
Do you, I don't know that I'm going to be able to read anymore. Do you want to put the reading on pause, or do you want to keep going?
Yeah, let's shut it down, man. That was good. Yeah, it was a great night. Thanks everybody for being here.
Yeah. I love these scriptures. This is the first time that my voice is just like deteriorated to the point where I don't know that I can speak that much more. But it was a great night. The battle charge is on. I'm gonna make it my mission to get rid of these shills, and I'm gonna be as bold as I possibly can, and try to rally some people that care about the truth. So,
yeah, brother. Hiya.
Yeah, join on Facebook, and yeah, my name's Jason Laufenberg, and
Laufenberg.
Yeah. And, you know,
not a Jew.
No. But, yeah, brother, anything else?
No, man. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And, yeah, only beyond flat Earth, right?
Only beyond flat Earth.